What's up, YouTube? Swan here, and today I'm going to be going over my philosophies and strategies in pitching in MLB The Show 20. As some of you know, I was actually a pitcher in college. I pitched in Division III out of the bullpen. Didn't necessarily have the best stuff, but I managed to get through it with a lot of strategy and control and philosophy and all that. And I've taken those strategies into MLB The Show 20. I currently have a 3 ERA in ranked seasons. I had it down as low as 2.75. I'm currently in the 800s division, so I'm yet to hit legend, but I believe these strategies work, and I'd like to share them with all you guys. So this will also be the start of a new series where I'm going to be going through individual pitchers in the show, and I'm going to be making videos on my strategies on how I pitch with them, what sequences I use, the locations, etc. So I hope you guys enjoy. Please like the video. Please subscribe. It helps the channel more than you guys can know, and enjoy. Also, guys, if you guys wanted to see a video of me throwing a pen in college, some of you guys have been requesting that for a while now. I'm going to include it at the end of the video, so stick around and stay tuned for that. Like I said, I didn't have the best stuff, but somehow made it work, so hope you guys enjoy that too. All right, guys, so this background game right here is from one of my league games, custom league game that I was playing here recently. We had Nate Pearson on the mound. We're going to go over what we were doing with him later, but this is going to be more of an uncut video, something I haven't really done before, just going to be talking with you guys, essentially. So in this video, I'm going to be going over my pitching philosophies. So like I said, I didn't have the best stuff in college. What I did is I was a sinker baller, sinker slider guy, threw from about 3/4 arm angle, maybe low 3/4. I threw on average about 78 miles an hour. I may have topped out at 82 in a game one year, my junior year, which was my better season. But obviously I didn't have the best stuff for a college pitcher. And I made that work by, one, pitching to contact, and the reason that was useful was the fact that I was a sinker baller, and I was able to get that weak contact. And that's basically my main philosophy in pitching in MLB The Show 20. Everything revolves around the idea of tunneling, which is something I did with my sinker and slider because they would both come in and then go opposite directions, and just getting weak contact. Everything revolves around weak contact. Nowadays in baseball, everybody's so focused on the velocity and swings and misses, spin rates. I wasn't that type of pitcher because I didn't have that type of talent, so I had to work my way around it. So I was a control guy, and I was a weak contact guy, pitched contact. That's basically who I was as a pitcher in college. Right now in ranked seasons, like I said, I have about a 3.01 ERA. At one point, I had a 2.75. My whip has been around or below 0.9 the entire season. I'm gonna debunk a theory for you guys real quick. Everybody says that the pitching is broken, revolving umpires calling the corners. Something different this year in ranked seasons is that everything that the umpire calls is perfect. The perfect zone, for example. So in the past, it's been personalized based on umpires. Some umpires would give more corners than others. Currently, these umpires are basically the K zone that you'll see on TV, for example. So if the ball is literally a millimeter off that plate, even though it looks like it's directly splitting that line, they're going to call that a ball. So that's why people aren't getting these corners. That's just the way the perfect umpire works. You can do that in friendlies, and it's in all online gameplay this year. Secondly, I want to go over how I'm holding the controller because I have a feeling that a lot of you guys are going to be very surprised by how I do this because it is pretty unheard of. So I use the claw grip on the controller right here. I claw that right there. So I use 2 fingers holding this left stick, and that's what helps me control the ball better. It helps me place my spot and hold it, and then all I have to do is focus on the right stick and where I'm locating it. I know it's a little different. People usually just do the typical thumbs on the stick grip, but I feel like that helps me have more stability and more control, and it gives me one less thing to worry about when I'm pitching. One last thing I would like to add is, yes, this philosophy is helpful even for the people that literally can't push a stick in the right direction, for example. They aren't the greatest at MLB The Show. But a lot of this also revolves around hitting your spots. You have to be good with that right stick, and that, of course, takes practice. And, of course, this is on analog pitching, as you can see on the screen. Hitting your spots is incredibly important, especially in this year's game where hitting is rewarded better than ever. Something you want to be able to do is when you're locating that pitch is actually hit the spot with the right stick. So you got to really focus on that. What I like to do when I'm missing my spots, say I'm leaving something over the plate, is I really force it either far inside or far outside. And that's kind of what helps me. Even if I throw a ball, I'd rather do that than leave it over the middle of the plate. All right, so as I said, this philosophy revolves around tunneling and creating weak contact. So for those of you that don't know, tunneling is when, for example, you're throwing a fastball, which is straight, a four-seam fastball, and then maybe you're throwing a cutter off of that. So they're going the same direction until they are maybe 10 feet from the plate, for example, or less. Who knows if you're a really good pitcher and you got those spin rates. But then that's when it breaks off. So it looks like it's one pitch coming in. It could be anything. It could be a fastball. It could be a breaking ball. It could be a cutter. But then it comes off like that. And I like to recreate this, especially when people are using in those zoomed in strike zone cams when hitting, because that will create the tunneling effect. And you won't know if it's going to be a straight ball or one that comes off the plate. And the better you are with that, people will have less time to put their PCI where they could actually square it up. And that's what creates weak contact. So my favorite strategy around that is using the sinker and cutter combo. I know that people have known about this for a while. People have been struggling to hit it. But this is my favorite strategy. And the way I like to work it is, say you have Corey Kluber on the mound, throws a good sinker, a good cutter. If there's a righty at the plate, maybe I'll come in with a sinker, see if he can turn on it. Then I'll go outside with the cutter. I do not like cutters in this game. I feel like they are very hittable. They are the pitch that if you miss, it's going to fly out of the yard. So I have to make sure that thing's off the plate. So I don't aim at the corner. I aim off of the corner, because I want that to look like that's just going to dot that corner and they're going to swing. But I want it to just go off just a little bit, and that will make the hitter either swing and miss due to the pitch speed and the location, or they just roll it over. Weak contact, maybe they get the little corkscrew animation, but you're just trying to create that weak contact there. Say they take that. Say it's 1-1 count now. They take that cutter. I like to go off of that cutter, and I want to backdoor the sinker. I don't like to do it with two-seam fastballs as much because two-seamers tend to move less than sinkers in this year's game. But if you can backdoor that two-seam, that will not only make the cutter more effective, but you might get a called strike there, or you show that you can do it, and then they're not going to know if a sinker or cutter is coming. Same thing with the lefties up. I tend to do sinkers away, and then I try to backdoor that cutter. It's a little harder to do. You really got to hit that spot because it's much easier to leave a pitch over the plate in that case, especially with a cutter, which is flatter than a sinker. Against a righty, it could come over the plate, but at least has that downward motion. So my favorite pitch combos, that obviously the sinker and cutter is one of them. I also like doing it up in the zone with the sinkers, obviously, because the high sinker is been the move for the last couple years. I don't do it as much this year because people can sit on it better, but high sinkers are definitely usable. Get in on the righties, for example, or away from the lefties, create that weak contact. Can't pull the ball if it's like way off the zone, you know what I'm saying? The other ones I like to do are for example, Nate Pearson was on the mound, the fastball, and then drop the curve on him. That's a typical pitch mix. Fastball with the cutter or fastball with the sinker. If they don't have the sinker and the cutter, that's still effective. And then sinker and change against righties. I like to go sinker in and then the change up off of that so it's slower and still breaks in the same motion. I tend to use my changeups more in on either side, no matter who is pitching, because I feel like people are expecting a fastball to come in on them, and then they can swing over the changeup or swing incredibly early in the changeup, either foul it off or, swing and miss. So in this example, Nate Pearson was pitching in the beginning. A lot of this has to do also with reading hitters. You test them, you see what works, what doesn't, and you stick with it. You don't want to get fancy. So, for example, if a guy can't catch up to the heat high and inside, you don't want to be throwing a breaking ball over the zone too often. Every now and then you will, but you want to make sure it's off the plate just to keep them off balance. But if they can't catch up to the fastball, you don't want to throw a breaking ball and speed up their bat, because then that's more likely for them to catch a barrel. And, a hanging breaking ball is incredibly easy to hit in this year's game. So, reading hitters is huge. I'm going to go over that more as I do individual pitcher videos on how I read hitters differently with pitchers, because every pitcher is different in this year's game. There are very few pitchers that are exactly the same. So in this video, Nate Pearson, I threw a lot of fastballs because my opponent was not able to catch up as much. Every now and then I drop a breaker down in the zone, maybe in the dirt, slider off the plate, but nothing that I really wanted to leave in the zone. Because leaving things in the zone, not only is the bat sped up, but then a barrel can meet it much easier. Change-ups, I also like to go in, as I've done. Right now, we got Oliver Drake in the game. He's a fastball splitter guy. Yeah, I think he has a slider too. So sliders low and into to lefties, like that back foot slider. Obviously, the splitter I like to use a lot. I'll come low and in off the plate down with that one, or I'll try to dot that corner away. Obviously, like that pitch right there, dotted inside part of the plate. Everything was revolving, hitting the corners, and then I'd throw a fastball up and away to keep him kind of off balance. With sinker ballers like Zach Britton, I like doing obviously Zach Britton, you end up facing a lot of righties with him. You'd want to face lefties where you can jam them inside with that sinker, but I was facing a lot of righties in this game, so I was trying to go with the front door, back door sinker away on the glove side of Zach Britton, and then I try to tunnel his splitter that he has this year and the slider around that. Every now and then, maybe a backdoor slider, maybe an arm side sinker, that type of thing. Just keep them a little off balance, but a lot of it revolves around tunneling. So guys, that's my basics to pitching. I know it was very free form. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. There's a lot of information coming at you. I know it will be reiterated when I'm doing the individual pitching videos, but I hope you guys get an idea of the philosophy. If you have any questions, feel free to ask any questions. You guys can reach out to me on the comments down below or on Twitter. Send me a DM, at me, send me a tweet. I'll try to help as best as I can. What I was hoping you guys could do is comment down below. Tell me what individual pitchers you guys want to see me do in this series, because I'm willing to do pretty much anybody that I can get my hands on. Right now, I'm using a rotation of Kluber, Oswalt, Pearson, Kopech. I got Shohei Ohtani in there right now. I also got a bullpen with Aroldis Chapman, Charlie Morton, Dennis Eckersley, who I'm loving, by the way. Doesn't have the greatest stuff, but if you can control, that man's a beast for tunneling. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave them down below. Leave suggestions of who you guys want to see in this series. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know this was a ton of information to take in, like I said, but it has helped me tremendously in this game, especially when I'm not the best with the stick skill on the PCI. Pitching's huge. It's a part of this game. And you know what? I think it can really improve someone's gameplay on this. Maybe gives you another division higher in that ranked seasons. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.